What's up, people? This your man Prof. This is another episode of Let's Talk About It, the place where we get your flowers while you're still here. And today, our special guest is a friend, a brother of mine. Um, does a lot, black college graduate, a doctor, cosmetic surgeon. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely want y'all to check him out. We about to just have a conversation, man. I want y'all to welcome Dr. DeLorean Griffin. What's going on, bro?
What's happening, bro? Man, thanks for having me.
You good out there?
Oh yeah, all is well. Everything
Definitely,
good on your
definitely.
end?
Man. We just want to take this walk real quick and let people know what's going on with you. For those who don't know your background, let's talk about where you was born and raised at.
Yeah, man. Born in Southfield, you know what I'm saying? But of course, I met you, I met Dre, all the whole crew, E-course where my grandmother stayed, 10th and Viz. Yeah, so I still need one of them I still need one of them t-shirts.
I got you.
Yeah. So I had a lot of come up with us there. Kind of, my mother took a job at IBM in the 90s, so we moved out there in the DC suburbs. Got a pretty good education, good enough to get me into college, even though I was a C student. But Black college took a chance on me. I went to FAMU.
Okay.
Started in 97, graduated 02, magna cum laude. And from there, I got homesick. So I said, I want to come back to the D. So I started the process of, becoming a doctor. I didn't know what type of doctor I wanted to be, but I knew I was interested in medicine. So I applied to Wayne State. I applied to a few other places, but, Wayne State was the only school that took me outright after I graduated from FAMU. So shout out to the Rattlers. Oh, and I remember when you came down, you were balling for Hampton.
Yes, sir.
Okay, y'all came down and gave us the business. I think that particular game, and I came and checked you out. I think it was 02, but right before I left. So
definitely. That was definitely dope. You know what I'm saying? But let's bring it back. So, what would you say growing up? Because you kind of had like a I would say dual residency growing up, because you'll be in the DMV area, but you'll be in the summers, you'll be in Detroit / E-course with us. So what coming from those two environments helped you as far as molding you into the man?
Well, Detroit is black, and where we was at mostly black. Maryland, where I live, I didn't even know this myself, but looking back, it's quite apparent that where I lived in Gaithersburg, Maryland, Montgomery County was the most diverse city in America, because there was a representation. Yeah, Detroit is a diverse area if you think about it in a grand scheme of things. You got Mexicans, you got Arabics, you got black folks, of course, mostly in the city. White folks, Jewish people, but they all segregated. This, where I lived in Maryland, was a melting pot where everybody was kind of commingling, and there was no segregation. It was pretty much every demographic was represented. So I got that experience, and it was a tale of two worlds. Kind of the inner city versus the kind of the suburb.
So you think that help balance you, because you can kind of play in any arena?
I mean, it did. Shit, we were no strangers to violence at sometimes. So that in and of itself shapes you. They dealing with abject poverty. Seeing destitute areas, seeing abandoned buildings, school systems that are broken versus school system that was example of how if a particular school system is properly funded, can put you in a position where you are ready for the next level, collegiate wise, where there's a lot of broken school system, the DPS, all over, So you counterbalance that, and you see the you put things in perspective because it allows you to see both sides of the coin. That prepares you for life. That way you're not, you're not blindsided by it, and there's no culture shock.
Yeah, that diversity definitely helps with that. You know what I'm saying, you can be into any situation and can navigate your way through it. I think having almost could say book smarts and street smarts is kind of giving you like an advantage to the others that don't have it. You know what I'm saying? So being able to adapt or be able to navigate through any situation is key just in life. You know what I'm saying?
Man, let me tell you this. So I came back, to Wayne State School of Medicine. Came back to Detroit to go to Wayne State, and it was probably about 8% black in my class. You know what I'm saying? But we were tight knit. But I was at a distinct advantage because dealing with the patient population in Detroit, I was able to speak the same language as a lot of the patients. And, we as black folks already have a distrust of the medical community. So
100%.
Yeah. Whereas, a lot of patients will see a black doctor. It's like, number one, they'll say, well, I'm proud of you. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing what you do. But it allows you to communicate with them in a way that may even be the difference between life and death, because you are now able to get that medical information that you need to make the right decision, make the right diagnosis.
So because the communication is key, especially in the medical field. In the black community, it's a lot of distrust as far as like, death at birth. You know what I mean? Not the communication and understanding the pain that a black woman is going through at birth. And then even now with the vaccine that's coming out, you hear a lot of people that's not comfortable want to take it. I mean, a lot of people might not remember the Tuskegee experiment and other things that was plagued on our people. So you kind of think cancer been around forever, but you came up with a vaccine for corona with under a year. I mean, it makes people skeptical.
And I completely understand the skepticism. It's completely understandable. But when you're in the arena, you have the data in front of you. You're able to interpret that data. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You're able to make sound decisions from a clinical standpoint because you had that background. It allows you to for me, I'm taking the vaccine with no apprehension. I understand the science behind it. I understand the mechanism of action. And I'm going to do like the rest of my colleagues, and I'm going to put it on display by posting when I do it. And that's not to influence anybody one way or the other. What I'm understanding from a lot of, black folks in particular, their skepticism is going to be there, but at least you're seeing live and in person somebody that's taking that journey of becoming vaccinated and eventually immune. So me, it at least opened the door to an open lines of communication and maybe dispel a lot of the misconceptions about what the vaccine is about. But it is valid. I mean, black folks in general have been blind. We've been pushed to the wayside when it comes to treatment, to resources, to access to healthcare. Like you mentioned, the black women in the demographic of middle class, upper middle class, had the highest death rate across the board. So you take out the socioeconomic piece of that, and it shows you right there. We are susceptible to miscommunication even today. And you got the Tuskegee experiment. There's a lot of misconceptions there, but it happened. It did. One thing I will say is that we've made some improvements based on what happened. You know what I mean? Laws have been put into place. Policy has been put into place after that. After 1972, you had increase in what we call informed consent laws, where they have to tell you if we're withholding this treatment, that's what we're going to do. If we're going to give you this treatment, it's all a part of the consent process. And that was derived directly from the Tuskegee experiment. So from my standpoint, you see both sides of the coins, but at least look at myself as a liaison between, this community that is skeptical that has some reservations about, about what our government wants to do to us, or, and the actual facts, and, help them make sound decisions. So I'm trying to lead by example, and I'll be taking the vaccine as soon as it becomes available, probably next week. And I'll go live when I do that too.
Dope. We definitely be there for that. But it's just like I say, it's so much skepticism and just other things that comes around it. Like I say, like you say with the birth death, that's crucial. So it's so many things in our psyche that's been embedded and just passed on through all the systematic shit that we've been through.
Yeah.
I get it on both sides. You know what I mean? But hopefully it gets figured out and we get through this and keep moving. So, but let's scale it back. Then I want to talk about your Black college experience. I also went to a HBCU, Hampton University, and what was it like?
That's the real HU, right? That's
the real HU. You know what it is. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Word to Harvey. But
my dean, he was a Hampton grad, so yeah.
That's what's up. He got to be a great individual. So, what was your experience coming from, I would say, DC and Detroit / E-course, and coming into Florida into a predominantly Black college? How was that for you? Was it a culture shock? Was you comfortable? I mean, how was it stepping on that campus?
No. And then, the Black experience in Detroit, I mean, it's going to make you comfortable. And there's a whole lot of Detroiters down there. It was a whole lot of people from DMV down there too. So it was, the biggest culture shock was the South. You know what I'm saying? You kind of had to learn that, saying no, sir, yes, sir, being more, just getting used to that kind of the Southern hospitality. Like, damn, everybody's speaking to me. Everybody's kind of more friendly, you know what I'm saying? And, that was the biggest kind of culture shock, and just kind of understanding what they were talking about. And I got a whole lot of friends from Florida across the South. So that was the main thing. And, just having the biggest thing about HBCUs, and I tell you this is, you are surrounded by like-minded individuals. You come, E-course, you got your street dudes. Those are, let's face it, they're gonna be right there on that same corner when you come back. So to be around individuals that's like-minded and forward thinking as far as academia is concerned, advancing in society and having advanced degrees, that was one of the biggest things. Of course, you got the icing on the cake is games, the battle of the bands, and the parties, of course. And you can't leave that out. I mean, that's where you go.
It's all part of the culture.
Yeah, it's part of the culture. You go there, you have fun. You formulate bonds for life.
Yeah, one thing I noticed when I first got there, that was different, that I never seen a lot of. It was just so much Black success.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The most people from where we're from, a few people make it out, but the most successful people are making it in the streets. That's what we knew. So when I got there, you see, I mean, everybody, mama, doctor, lawyer, or this, or they own this business. And you know what I'm saying? It was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? So I know that was one of the things when I first got to HBCU. And like you said, the culture of it, just the homecomings, like people still go to homecomings. Of course, this year they didn't go because of COVID, but alumni, you have more fun at homecoming when you come back. That's the traditions of an HBCU, and just being around your peers and like you say, like-minded people that look like you, that's trying to get to where you're trying to go or further.
Right.
And, iron sharpens iron. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that experience. I wish a lot of kids would even think. A lot of people don't even think of HBCUs. I think it's what's going on as far as like with social injustice and all that is bringing more attention to Black colleges. But I wish I knew now. Of course, hindsight is always 20/20. But I wish what I knew now, I knew when I was coming out of high school, to try to get people that's like the top athletes to come to an HBCU, because you can change the landscape.
You can.
Because if you're good, the league is going to come find you, and you can bring that attention to something bigger than you.
Yeah, I mean, most athletes, they're gonna say, I need to go to a D1 school to get that attention, but you could really go to a HBCU and shine. And there's plenty of athletes came from.
And a lot of HBCUs are D1s as well.
Exactly. We moved up to D1. We get our butt kicked by the powerhouses, but it's still, it's still gonna be that. Yeah, and I like that. Iron sharpens iron.
Sure. When you was in FAMU, was there? I mean, it could be more than one, but was there an instructor that put something on your brain that maybe even pushed you a little harder, or challenged you, or just gave you information that helped you along your travel?
Yeah, I mean, the ironic thing was even when after I went to FAMU, I still didn't have that black doctor mentorship. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
There wasn't that. I didn't have that guidance. That's where I felt like I was at a disadvantage. A lot of people ask me all the time, did it prepare you for medical school per se? And I would say no. I kind of had to find my own way because I was in the biology department. It was just in shambles. You know, HBCUs are underfunded. We know that.
Yeah.
Financial aid is always going to be an issue. But to answer your question, yeah, there were several professors that saw me as somebody that would that represent FAMU the right way. Definitely pushed me towards, because I was unsure about going to medical school. I had dabbled in, I knew it was going to be something science related. I watched a lot of CSI. I wanted to be a forensic pathologist. I dabbled in going to dentistry school, and ultimately they said, you're smart enough, man. You should apply to medical school. And I did. I did a year later, only because the MCAT score, the entrance exam. That's one of the tough exams I ever took. I took it twice. My score went up 1 point. I took the course and everything. I was like, oh man, I'm never getting in. It was an average score. It wasn't bad, but it was average. So I kind of had to find a way to set myself apart. And I think coming back to Detroit, Wayne State, that was that Detroit connection definitely helped things.
Cool, yeah. Because I always think back of my econ teacher, Tyrone Ferdinand, may he rest in peace. And he was just he was so about about the economics of the black community. And I never forget little stuff. So like he didn't like I wouldn't say he didn't like, but he didn't like Beyonce. I believe she did a deal with, I don't know if it's CoverGirl, one of those cosmetic lines, and he was like, why she didn't do it with a black cosmetic line, because they could have helped them build generational wealth. Now, man, this is 2002, 2003. He talking generational wealth where people are on right now. This is 17 years, 18 years later.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how Oprah could have found a black psychiatrist instead of blowing up Dr. Phil. And he was super pro-black. Yeah. That's one thing I liked about it. But he'll give you the facts behind everything he said. He wasn't the type of old person that just say something and you supposed to disagree with it, but he'll bust down, economics. And I even in business today, I think about a lot of different stuff I learned in his class. That's why I always ask you, was it somebody that pushed you or gave you game information that helped you through the way? He was one of many in my journey through Hampton University. That's why I asked.
Yeah, no, and I mean that's all of that's valid, man. You think about it, there's historical context. Black Wall Street, every time we try to do something for ourselves, Black Bottom in Detroit.
Yeah.
Every time we try to do something for ourselves, what I'm saying, create our own little enclave. There's some entity that wants to tear that apart. And then when we talk about it, it's like, oh, you're being racist because you're not being inclusive of other, either white folks or other people of color. But I'm like, everybody does it. Jewish people stick together. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Indian people stick together. You know what I'm saying? That's just what happens. But so for us to not be included within that, it does a disservice to what we could potentially achieve. And and then black folks always have a crab in the barrel mentality too that we have to get over. So I mean, we have to get over that. And when we go deeper into our discussion, I might have to reveal something. I really don't want to, but it might be jumping the gun. But we'll talk about it a little bit about where I'm headed.
Okay, well, definitely. We're gonna definitely get to that. But I want to go through this college journey a little bit more. Okay. So, coming into Wayne State and going to med school, but what was the biggest challenge of that? Because I know I always hear stories about it. Third party or somebody talking about it on Facebook, or you might see a video talking about the stresses of going through med school. What was some of your, let's say, some stresses, or I would just say, what you went through and your triumphs as going through Wayne State Medical School?
Well, yeah. So I kind of alluded to it. A lot of the triumph came from being able to like communicate with patients in a way that my counterparts can't because they don't understand the language, or put it in layman's terms so your patient can understand. I think I was at a distinct advantage from that standpoint. But I mean, man, becoming a doctor is hard. Being a doctor is hard. Staying a doctor is hard. And you add Black on top of that, and it makes it even harder. I mean, you know, there's discrimination in the workplace. There's, you know, I had learned that I couldn't be the asshole plastic surgeon that, you know, maybe my white counterparts could be. You know what I'm saying? I had, you know, you see this, like a lot of these surgeons throwing instruments and having temper tantrums, stomping their feet. And I learned quickly, you know, I don't get, you know, I'm not privy to that same attitude where, you know, where this guy is being assertive, where I'm looked at as the angry Black doctor. You know what I mean? So there's challenges there, you know what I'm saying? And then being able to overcome what we call like imposter syndrome, where do you even believe yourself you're good enough to be recognized as amongst your peers as somebody that's stellar in your particular field. And you know, there's a lot of self-doubt that you have, like, dang, am I good enough? You know, you got to get over that. You got to get over, you know, man, it's a lot of things. Institutional racism, it exists in medicine, both from the patient standpoint and provider standpoint. I've experienced all of that.
Yeah, see that's what. Let's touch on that, because people don't get to see that side. As a patient, you only see the patient aspect of it. So most of us not seeing it from the doctor aspect of it. Can you give some examples of what you have to deal with as being a Black doctor in that industry?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'll tell you. So, I mean, you know, they'll always talk about affirmative action as something that, you know, gave Black folks a leg up, that, you know, you didn't have to be as qualified to you know, go to medical school and become a doctor. You know, you could have lower test scores, this, that, and the other. None of that is really, you know, that's a falsehood. I was in Florida when they got rid of affirmative action in Florida. I was in Michigan when they got rid of it. You know, I was in medical school when they got rid of affirmative action there. We saw what happened to the numbers. They dwindled. And, you know, the whole thing is, you know, you got a majority population that's Black, and you need Black doctors to I mean, you know, there's a trust factor. A Black patient is going to trust a Black doctor more. So it's imperative to have those numbers.
Yeah, to have balance.
And it dropped off significantly. And when I was in medical school, I mean, we had 40 Black people out of a class of something like 300, and it dropped down to 15, and the next year it dropped down to 8, and then it dropped down to 3, and I think just 1 in 1 year, and they had to fire the diversity inclusion director because of that. So then the numbers picked back up. So it's not about, you know, first of all, it's not about test scores anyways, because, you know, if you're not a compassionate doctor that's going to, you know, relate to your patients, or if you see a dollar sign, or you see, you know, you see another something that's just going to go through the wheelhouse, it's not going to be a good doctor. It doesn't matter what your test score is. And I think people overstate that to a great degree.
Yeah, I can see that. What made you lean towards cosmetics surgery?
Oh, there's one other thing I want to say, because you wanted me to provide an example of. So, I mean, so people are going to look at, first of all, I look young as hell. So people are gonna automatically feel as though you're not the most qualified individual. You know, I had one patient, I'm just going to tell the story, then I'll talk about that. I had one patient that he came in, he had a motorcycle accident, you know, his jaw was torn off. You know, they called me in, I went to the ER, I saw the patient, you know, and I explained to him, we're going to do this, we're going to take it to the operating room, we're going to repair this, you're going to be good, you're going to be able to eat in a few days, this, that, and the other. Patient was appreciative. Patient's mother said, took one look at me and said, I want my son transferred to another hospital because I don't think he's qualified. You know, so initially the automatic thing is that you're gonna think is this race related? And I think there may have been some of that, or she thought I looked young and I thought I was naive, but the patient himself said, "I'm staying here. I trust this doctor. He explained things to me in a way that that made sense, and I'm not going anywhere." And begrudgingly, the mother, she just let it go. But I get faced with that all the time, and you know, I tell people all the time I've treated 4 white supremacists in my entire medical career, and that they're not even the most racist people that I had to deal with.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, most white supremacists is white supremacists when they in groups. They humble when they solo.
There's that, but there's that, and then they're in a position where they're vulnerable. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't care who's treating them. They want to be. At the end of the day, they're human, and they, some of them got sense. They got
exactly.
You might have a swastika tattooed on you, but guess who your doctor is? You can either trust me, or you can go somewhere else and maybe not have a favorable outcome on your way to the other hospital.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
that's definitely real. So, what made you go into cosmetic surgery?
Man, so I mean, I'm the I'm pretty artistic. You've seen my artwork, since we were kids.
For sure.
Once I got into medical school, I knew I probably wanted to do something surgical. Something with my hands. I was unsure, but I thought about ER, vascular surgery, a few other things, and then my colleagues, they were like, "Man, look at your artwork. You either need to do one or two things. You need to do medical illustration, or you need to become a plastic surgeon." I was like, "Well, okay, I'll consider that," because I've seen some of the shows, and I was like, at the time, that black plastic surgeon that Oprah was amping up, Jan Adams, who unfortunately was the plastic surgeon that led to the death of Kanye West's mother. But at the time, he inspired me. I was like, dang, this is black plastic surgeon on TV, was articulate, you know what I'm saying, and showing all of his transformations. I'm like, well, let me check it out. So I linked up with a plastic surgeon at the Detroit Medical Center, and his name was Dr. Balakrishnan. He became my mentor before I even had an inkling of what I wanted to do. He took me on his service, and he showed me all of he did mostly reconstructive. He didn't do the cosmetic stuff so much, but the transformations was just phenomenal. How you could just take one body part and reconstruct another body part. You know what I'm saying? Take tissue from somebody's thigh and then reconstruct your face, or, you know what I'm saying, a tummy and then reconstruct the breast, So there was a lot of that. There was, DMC, we saw a lot of gunshot wound victims. And, some of these people came in with half their face blown off. And he would make them look like, not perfect, but functional. Close to normal. So I was like, that just blew my mind. And so he became my mentor. He got me into the plastic surgery program. I did 5 years of trauma surgery, 5 years of general and trauma surgery at the DMC. And that in and of itself was a traumatic experience for myself. I mean, I tell people all the time, I mean, the media only tells you part of the story, and then we as humans ingest that and think that that's just it. And what I mean by that is, like, say for instance, you hear about somebody getting shot, and they lived, and then in your mind, you don't hear any other parts of the story, and you think that's it. They don't tell you that they're paralyzed from the neck down. You know what I mean? They don't tell you that that patient will never walk again. That they have to deal with bed sores, that they had to have 24-hour care, that they'll never, they'll never, that they had half of their lung removed, they'll never breathe the same. There was a girl, a little 12-year-old girl that got shot, and the media said, oh, she got shot in the foot. She got shot twice. She got shot in the foot. She also got shot in the vagina and blew her whole stuff out, so she'll never have kids. She'll have to have a colostomy bag her entire life. So they only tell you part of that story. So I'll tell you, man, my experience at the DMC, I've seen it all. There's nothing I haven't seen in this city, and that in and of itself is very traumatic. to get into how I got into plastics, I didn't want to live that life. I didn't want to have to come home and bring the burden of what I saw home to my family, and I just wanted a more comfortable lifestyle. So I pursued the fellowship in plastic surgery, which is a change of pace, but I still dealt with a lot of traumatic stuff. My mentor wound up dying in front of me. He had a heart attack while we were getting ready to go to the operating room when I was a fellow. So that took a lot out of me. But I had him for a year and a half out of 3 years of my fellowship, and that man taught me half of what I know to this day. And from that, I'm able to go. I feel like I can go anywhere in the world and be comfortable and have the confidence to take care of any type of patient within my scope.
That's dope, man. I know having a mentor that looks like you helped a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because like I say a lot, sometimes we have to see it first.
Right. He was Indian, but close enough.
Close enough. Yeah. But what I was saying is it's all about representation. He still was a person of color, even though he wasn't black. Because I remember as we grew up, we never thought that we'd see a black president. That was the furthest of our imagination. Now kids growing up thinking that they can be president because they've seen it. You know what I'm saying? Like you on here as a plastic surgeon. So a kid may hear this podcast or see this podcast and see a guy that looked just like them be a doctor for one, go to an HBCU for one, and be a cosmetic surgeon. So any one of those three things, or in this totality, they can be motivated to do that. You know what I mean? So to see it is to believe it, and sometimes we need to see those people. That's just one reason for this podcast, because I want to shine light on success stories, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's an entrepreneur, whatever it is. You coming from the cloth that we all come from, or the neighborhoods that we came from, to show where you can go. Because sometimes our people have blinders on, and they can't see further than what they see in front of them. You feel me? So that's the whole point of these conversations.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of adulation for the guys that got it fast. That they had the cars, they had the girls and it comes a lot slower when you talk about. I mean, if you think about it, it took me 18 years to become a plastic surgeon from college. 18 years. Well, you had to tell how are we going to convince somebody from the inner city that they could become this, but it's going to take $300,000 worth of debt. You're not going to be able to travel and see the world like your peers are during you're going to lose your 20s. You know what I mean? I didn't start doing stuff until I was in my mid 30s when I came out. So if you're a female, you're gonna say, well, I want to start a family. Well, am I going to be able to do it while I'm in this process of becoming a physician? So that being said, I mean, you have to kind of get over that instant gratification part of it, and forge ahead. But I do a lot of mentorship. I've been involved in each one teach one in medical school. We brought the middle schoolers in, and reach out to you where we bring the elementary schools in to see what it becomes. What it takes to become a doctor. Show them real brains, real hearts. You know what I mean? Tell them about how the body works. It's inspiring to these kids, whether they go into medicine or not. At least they're getting that exposure. This is an all black kind of affair that we put forth through the Black Medical Society, Black Medical Association at Wayne State. From there, I bring residents, I bring med students into my office. Sometimes I can get them into the operating room and show them how it's done.
That's dope, man. That's dope. That's that giving back is a big thing. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's one kid, one person. You know what I'm saying? If you can spark the fire, you can spark the flame that start the fire to burn up, and the motivation in the different people, man. I like a lot. As far as like multiple businesses that I'm involved in, a lot of people hit me up or asking questions. Cause a lot of us don't like to share information, and
that's true.
And that's a problem in our community. And by you just giving that back, man, you could save somebody's life, literally. You know
I mean, I feel like it's my duty to pay it forward. I mean, think about it. It's like 5% or less of all doctors are Black. You talk about I talk about the plastic surgery numbers. Out of probably 10, you got to probably, including myself, there's probably 150 to 200 board certified plastic surgeons in the entire nation. You know what I mean? So for me, it's all about increasing those numbers. I have a circle. The silver lining in that is that the Black plastic surgeons across the nation, we all kind of know each other. Some of us are very tight knit. So you talking about sharing information? We share information amongst each other all the time. Dang, what would I'll call up my homeboy in Texas, Steve Clark, who's a plastic surgeon there. What would you do in this case? Call up my boy in Miami. I'm doing a Brazilian butt lift. How do I get that booty to pop? You know what I'm saying? Because he was gracious enough to bring me down. Shout out to Shola Fasusi to really show him. He does Brazilian butt lifts all day, but he doesn't do that much breast. So for me, I'm learning how to do butt from him, and he's just like, "Dang, what would you do in this breast case?" You know what I'm saying? So it's like we iron sharpens iron, like you said.
Yeah, fair exchange ain't never been a robbery. That's what's up.
Exactly.
Y'all both take care of each other, and that's a good thing. And so now, I had a question in the comments. Someone said, "Is it hard for you to build a client base for being a Black doctor?"
Man, I'm gonna tell you this. I was like, so when I got hired at. I'm not gonna mention the hospital. People already know where I work, but I'm gonna leave them out for now. But I got hired there, and it was a great starter job. And one of the things I said in my back of my mind is like, I'm about to take over Detroit. You know what I'm saying? This is hometown. I'm Black. I'm about to get all these. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to be Dr. Miami of Detroit. Man, the first few years, none of that happened. I was like, man, I got like 60, 70% of my patients were white. It was cool. I love all my patients, but I'm like, hey, I expected to, get more more of the Black population. I mean, we're in a black city, and you just kind of had to learn the nuances of how to attract patients and get your name out there. I have a lot of restrictions, which is gonna change in a short period of time, but it was easier for me than it should have been. It takes the average plastic surgeon about 5 years to build a practice. I built mine in about 4.5. You know what I mean? To the point where they're just gonna come word of mouth. Right now there's not a lot of advertisement surrounding me, so almost all of my clientele is word of mouth. You operate on the right salon owner, right business owner, they're gonna speak volumes. You do a good job, so you put good product out there, and then the success will follow. So it's probably took longer than I thought it would, but in the grand scheme of things, things got jumping for me probably a little easier because I think I have I put out a good product. So people speak volumes, and word of mouth is definitely a boon to building a practice.
Dope. That's good to see, man.
So now I got all of the all of the people I was trying to attract. I was like, damn, I got too many of y'all now. But overall, I mean, for me, my patient population is older and more educated, and I was like, hey, why aren't the younger women coming? And I thought it's kind of a blessing because the older patients, they got that real money, they got that long money, and they're just more educated about the whole process, and they're more realistic about outcomes. You know what I mean?
And your work speaking for itself, because as we're conversing, it's people in the comments saying he did man, I love him, he's my doctor. So when the people speak for you, that stamp is better than any advertisement you can create yourself.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm pretty personable. You might go to another plastic surgeon, you might only see him once, twice. You can see me as much as you like, and
you being personable helps because most doctors see you as a number. You
Yeah,
just,
that's true.
you know what I'm saying? You're just really a bill for them to send out. So once you get a personal relationship and get comfortable, and you just
Yeah,
make your people feel comfortable, that's an any business, especially in the medical
right.
field, because the medical field can
Yeah,
be so scary. You know what I mean? So that's just an
yeah.
attest to the way you was raised and your personality and what you bring into the table in your field. So that's just, you know what I'm saying? Salute to you on that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I see a couple of my patients. Yeah, I love y'all. Yeah, yeah, they
That's what's
doing well. Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing. But early in the conversation, man, you said you had an announcement for us. So we breaking some news today.
I'm not gonna break. Put it like this. I'm not gonna. I mean, people probably know where at this point in 2021, you're gonna be seeing a lot more of me. Um, on a wider scale.
Sweet.
Partnering with somebody that's already well known. And we're gonna take this whole metro area by storm. Get ready. 2021 is gonna be real big. I can't give all the details, but people probably already know what that means. And that means kind of expanding my horizons.
That's dope. It's all about
Yeah.
growth, man. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? No ceilings. So all gas, no break. You already know. So man, I definitely appreciate you taking out time on your Sunday, man. I can hear the kids in the background, so I know it's family time for you to kick it
Oh,
with me
good.
and my audience, man. And I respect that. But I want you to give your social media handles anywhere they can catch up with you, or if they want to, a consultation, they need a new butt, they're trying to get them titties right for the summer, whatever. 2021,
Yeah,
they
man.
ain't really get to show their bodies off this summer, so they're trying to get them
No,
ready.
no, no. And it's crazy how COVID had because I was real worried. I was like, dang, this is gonna destroy my practice. But once everything's open back up, it was like the floodgates because what wound up happening. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know where a lot of this money comes from. I don't know if it's
Oh yeah,
did you have legitimate means or is this the COVID
hey,
scam? But
you
I
done
don't
did a
ask
lot of
questions.
right there, a lot of PUA titties and a lot of them.
Well, I'll tell you what. It's like the people have the time off now. It's like, dang, I
Yeah,
want to get
time
this
is
done.
everything.
I'm working remotely. I ain't even got to go to work, and I can
Easier to sit back and
heal,
heal. Yep,
heal, and then come summertime, it's going to be on and popping. Social media, find me on Dr. Griffin Plastics Arts on IG. That's the best way. I try to answer all the DMs. It's so many DMs that I get overwhelmed and I can't answer all of them. So if you be patient, I will get back to you. I am booked until the spring now. Like I said, it's kind of scary because I really don't advertise and I still have a huge following. It's like, dang, imagine how it is when we open up those other floodgates.
it's coming. It's coming. It's gonna get greater later. You already know that.
Coming,
So that's
coming, but things are gonna get better. As far as scheduling, we're gonna be able to get patients in. Price might even go down. Um, it's high right now for a variety of reasons that have nothing to do with me. And I apologize for that, but we will get the patients in, and you will see a lot of Dr. Griffin in 2021.
Dang, that's what's up, man. Yeah, when we repost as far as on all the streaming platforms and also our app, we put all that information in the description so people know how to get directly in contact with you. And like I say, I appreciate you, you know what I'm saying, taking this time on a Sunday afternoon to kick it with your boy, man, and get some people some
Sure.
game and some more information about yourself.
Hey, man, I appreciate you having me, and I still need that T-shirt, dog.
I got you. I got you. No problem. I'm gonna send a mask to match with you. I got you.
Hey, all right, all right. You got purple. You make it in purple, can't you? Make it
You know how
purple.
to do anything, man. Come on, man. I
Yes,
got you.
sir.
So the people that's watching live on YouTube, we appreciate you. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you like it on Facebook, make sure you share the video. We appreciate all support, the Real Ish Radio Network. We dropping more podcasts. We got multiple shows, man. And then we might even have a discussion about you having a podcast on our network, just giving out game information. I got a slot for you if you want it. So that's the invitation I'm gonna put out there live on the World Wide Web.
Hey, man, 2021. I'm getting rid of a couple shackles in 2021, so we could definitely talk about that.
For sure, man. I appreciate you. Everybody that stayed around and kicked it and commented, man. I appreciate y'all. Y'all, we got more coming. The full episode to drop on all the podcast networks on tomorrow. But you can still, I'm gonna leave the live video up. You can also watch the video, man. I appreciate everybody. One.